Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Shakespeare here again with you on the 30th of November 2022, and I'm here with psychic medium and remote viewer Liz Cross. How are we doing today, Liz?
Well, I'm doing all right, but I feel sorry for you. You've caught this nasty, yucky flu thing. So I hope you feel better, Mr. Shakespeare. Everybody take it easy with Mr. Shakespeare on the Discord.
Oh dear. Right. This is going to be a dual probe. We're going to go into Bankman Fried again.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to pop into Kevin O'Leary. So, can you get a connection with Bankman Fried, please?
Yes, I have him.
Okay. Is he currently in the Bahamas?
Are you currently in the Bahamas? No.
Okay.
I know that it keeps being reported from whatever source that he may be in the Bahamas. When I'm probing him, I keep getting a no.
Well, is he in the Caribbean anywhere then?
Are you in the Caribbean? Yes, on the outskirts. I feel like he's on an island.
Okay. Right. So, some questions. Okay. What was the plan behind when FTX bought Voyager?
What was the plan behind when FTX bought Voyager? To salvage it.
Right. Was it not just to take the equity out of it and replace it with FTX tokens?
Was it not to take the equity out and replace the FTX tokens? That's correct. That's what they were going to do. But in their mind, in his mind, because this is his own personal thought, feeling, and opinion, okay, that was how he was going to salvage it.
Okay. Is that the same MO behind 3 Hours Capital?
3 hours capital, did you say?
3 Arrows, not hours, arrows.
3 arrows. Is that
yeah, bow and arrow, sort of Robin Hood.
Oh,
3 Arrows Capital.
Sherwood Forest and all that. Little
exists.
John, Maid Marian. I've actually seen Little John's grave, by the way. It's in, I think it's in Derbyshire. My mom took me to see it when I was little. Sorry, what was the question?
Was that the same MO behind? Is that the same MO, or was that the same MO behind 3 Arrows Capital?
Is that the same MO behind 3 Arrows Capital? Exactly the same, yes.
Okay. And was he involved in any way doing the same with Celsius?
Did you do the same with Celsius? Yes.
Okay.
Is that why Celsius went bankrupt?
That would be a question to ask Sam, wouldn't it?
Well, let's ask him. You still have your sense of humor despite having the flu.
I never lose that.
Sam, was that the motive behind Celsius? Yes, they were trying to salvage Celsius, but it's not salvageable.
Right. See, the problem is we just need to do a little qualifier here for everybody on the outside world. When he says salvage, he means asset strip. Okay, he's an asset stripper. He goes in, he takes the equity out, i.e. the dollars or anything of value, or he replaces it with FTX tokens of equivalent value. And at the time, FTX had a value per token. So, okay, that's okay. But of course, when the thing hits the fan and FTX goes down, all of these companies, they're pretty much left with nothing, because they're just left with a lot of worthless tokens, aren't they? So he goes in, in other words, you're buying it for the core equity of what's in the company. Did he pay for all the acquisitions of these corporations with FTX tokens?
Did you pay for all the acquisitions of these companies with FTX tokens? No, he used cash.
Right, but it was obviously profitable for him to do it, even if he used cash. Is that right?
Very profitable.
Right. Okay. All right.
And the other thing is, nobody actually knew how much profit he was gaining. At this point, they just wanted to salvage their exchange. And they handed over all the remaining equity to him. This is what he's telling me.
Right.
It disappeared. It went up in smoke. That went in his pocket.
Right. Well, it didn't disappear. It went to him.
Right.
Yeah.
But it didn't go back to the initial investors, you know, those that actually bought tokens or coins on these exchanges, which is what they ultimately believed it would do.
Right.
It was a way to pay back the people on these exchanges.
Okay. What's his involvement with Kevin O'Leary? Or what was his involvement? Or what is his involvement?
Ooh. What is your Kevin O'Leary? Okay. I have to be honest. His exact words, I screwed him.
Okay.
Do you mean like physically? No, financially.
Was he aware that you were doing that to him?
Was he aware? Was Kevin O'Leary aware that you were taking?
Yeah, sorry.
No. He thought he was investing in a big company. He calls him a greedy swine.
Sorry, who called who a greedy swine?
Sam Bankman-Fried calls Kevin O'Leary a greedy swine.
Interesting choice of words. Okay. Well, let's hold him here a minute and let's pop into Kevin O'Leary.
Okay. I love Kevin O'Leary, by the way. Shark Tank and $1 Million Listing. Those, I love. Those are my favorite shows. I love Shark Tank. I love Josh Flagg and all those people in $1 Million Listing. I love the people they bring on to Shark Tank. And if I may divulge a bit of information here, in New Orleans at a remote viewing conference, I gave a reading to somebody who was sitting next to me just on the off chance at a bar, because there were no seats in the restaurant. So we had to go to the bar to wait for tables. And it was Barbara Corcoran's husband. And she is also on Shark Tank. I feel quite privileged. He's like, don't you know who I am? I was like, no, sir, I have no idea. I'm Barbara Corcoran's husband. Then I went straight to the Google, looked him up, and it was. Okay, there you go.
Excellent. Okay. Right, can you get a connection with O'Leary, please?
Yes, I do have a connection with him, Mr. Wonderful.
Is that a self-styled Mr. Wonderful, is it?
Yes, that's what he calls himself, Mr. Wonderful.
Okay, it's not what Sam Bankman-Fried thought about him, but hey.
No.
How does he feel now he's been in the aftermath of being involved with Sam Bankman-Fried?
How do you feel about being in the aftermath? Now you're in the aftermath. He feels disgusted. Terrible. He really invested millions of dollars in good faith. I feel like Bankman-Fried wined and dined him. Okay. He's telling me he was targeted as an investor and he put millions into it. It's all gone. The money's gone.
How many million? He's supposedly worth about 400 million. So what's he worth now? 200?
How much money did you lose in FTX exchange? 100 million? No, lower. 50? About 60 million.
Okay. All right. Well, he'll survive.
Still a considerable amount. If
well, it is. I know, but you know, it's relative to your net worth. He's supposedly worth about 400 mil. So, you know, it's about 15% of his net worth.
Did you lose all of your 60 million? Yes, every single penny.
What do you think will happen? What does he think will happen to Bankman Fried?
What do you think will happen? Well, he says he thinks he's going to go to jail.
Yeah, so do I.
Bahamas. No, he's not in the Bahamas. Even Kevin O'Leary knows that.
Right.
I've spoken to him since the FTX crash. No, he won't answer the calls.
Right, but a lot of the money was being funneled back to the Democrats, wasn't it? So what makes him think that the Democrats are going to go after him?
Yes, that's correct. Are you a Democrat? No, he's not a Democrat. Do you align yourself with Democrat or Republican? No, he doesn't align himself. Kevin O'Leary doesn't align himself with any Democrat or Republican party. So how do you feel about, do you like Justin Trudeau? No, he doesn't like Trudeau. How do you feel about the money being filtered back in through the Democrats? It's a scam. He says it's a scam. Why do you think it's a scam? Because he thinks, now this is Kevin O'Leary's own personal thought, feeling and opinion, not Liz, right? Because I don't know too much about this, guys. I haven't been reading into it. I need to stay as neutral as possible. He believes that this was by design. It looks very suspicious to him.
Well, you can tell him I agree, because I think this was all set up. Yeah, this is a long tail scam. This one is. Yeah.
I mean, but oftentimes we have these opinions, and obviously when we're doing mind probes, we have opinions, and I just that's his opinion. My opinion really doesn't count. Your opinion really doesn't count. But, and a lot of times what's reported in the news when we do these mind probes, we get behind the scenes and we find out what's really going on.
Right, but you didn't ask the question. Yes, we know the money's been funneled to the Democrats, but why does he think then the Democrats will go after him? Why would they go after him if he's been paying them? He could still be paying them for all we know.
Oh, let's ask Sam Bankman-Fried. Are you still giving money to the Democrats? No, he's no longer giving money to the Democrats because because of the bankruptcy. He can't because of the filing. That's what he's just said. Now, Kevin O'Leary, sorry, what was that question? Oh, why do you think that Sam Bankman-Fried will go to jail? Because it's justice. And he says, I do have faith in the justice system. He can't run forever. What do you think?
No, he can't. But the Democrats are in office in the US for another 2 years. And in 2 years' time, no one will know about this or remember or care. So there doesn't seem to be any big, spurge to get him at the moment. So, he's paid them a lot of money. A lot.
Let's ask the Democrats. Let's ask them. So I'm going to group them together as an entity. Do you plan to go after Sam Bankman-Fried? Not at the moment. They're still gathering evidence. This is a very hard situation for them to investigate. They're having to use expert consultants. Is the SEC investigating? No, it's even beyond the SEC's capabilities. See, this is the problem with crypto. And I've got this on many probes before. Everybody thinks that these governments are going to have this mass adoption of crypto. But the government, if you know anything about government organizations, like even the VA, right? The amount of red tape you have to go through to get anything done. The governments can never keep up with the rate of technology. And we've done that probe after probe after probe. That is exactly what's going on here. They're trying to wrap their heads around it. And they don't see at this point, I mean, as we're talking to the Democratic Party right now, because there's no regulations, it's very difficult to pin this as a fraud.
Right. but it is a fraud, and fraud, what's the word? Visitates everything. It doesn't what if something is entered to as a fraud, then every single thing that happens afterwards is struck down null and void. And this was set up as a fraud.
Mm.
Bankman-Fried came out of nowhere, and he had that girl that looks about 12 years old with him, and they ran this multi-billion-dollar fund. I mean, you've only got to look at real companies that run these funds, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, how long did it take them? It took them years and years and years and years to build up to where they are now, and this guy comes out of nowhere. It was set up. It was my gut instinct, and I'm not psychic, but I have gut instinct and I have some intuition. This just looks like what they would call in the old East End of London days a long firm. It was set up to produce something over a longer period of time. So it wasn't set up today to produce something tomorrow. It was set up to produce in the long term. Now, they paid political cover. They gave all the Democrats a lot of money. It helped them, not get completely wiped out in the midterms. Where is the political will to go after this guy? Really? If they start going after him, they're literally going after themselves.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, why did you give money to the Democratic Party? Well, it was all a convincing strategy, right? Did they ask you for money? They didn't ask him for money. He freely gave it.
Right, but when somebody keeps giving you free money, and not just you, but all your fellow, members, then you think, Kevin O'Leary must think it may have nicknamed himself Mr. Wonderful, but I bet you all the congressmen and senators thought that SBF was Mr. Wonderful because he kept giving them free money all the time.
Do you think that SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, was wonderful? Yeah, we loved him. He was our biggest donor.
There you go.
So were you actually doing favors for him? So they're saying that he was trying to push for FTX to be accepted, to be regulated, to be the one and only, exchange that would be officially regulated by the US government. That was his motive.
Right.
They didn't ask him for the money.
Can you ask SBF if that's true? Was that his motive?
Was that your motive? Yes, that's what he told me.
Right, okay.
That was his motive. He was buying votes. He was buying regulation. He is doing what every other lobby, here we have lobbyists.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean,
that's exactly what he was doing.
Right, and if he'd have got his way and been the only regulated official one in the US, that would have been a fantastic monopoly position, wouldn't it?
He would have been a trillionaire.
Right.
Oh dear. So, any other questions for Kevin O'Leary?
No, I think we've covered all of that we need to know. So
I'm sure that there's a lot of, people are like, but you didn't ask this, but you didn't ask that. Okay, that's fine. Then please either send me an email at psychiclizcross@gmail.com. The best way to follow up with questions or to get your questions answered is by joining the Patreon. Look, it's only like $3.50, maximum $4 a week. For those of us in the US, maximum $4 US a week, and you get so much. I'm sorry, all the other groups out there are charging a fortune, and you even get a healing group on a Monday. So the best way to ask these questions is by joining the Patreon. You support the YouTube channel, you get to interact with Mr. Shakespeare, with Max, with Mr. Robot. That's where they're pulling these questions from. That is the best way to get a session or a reading or a remote viewing session on YouTube, your questions answered.
Yes.
Patreon.com/remote viewing and beyond. Thank you very much. And we'll go on to the next.